Before we get into it, subscribe, because queens don't walk alone. Queens train, queens reinforce, queens move with clarity. And this space, it sharpens you, because emotional sovereignty is a standard, not a suggestion. Let's reset our crowns, queen. All right. Thank you again for being with me. Let's start with this. Stop explaining. You don't explain your standard. You don't explain your silence. You don't explain your boundary, your softness, your sharpness, or your exit. You don't explain what's already been felt. Because the moment you start explaining, you already stepped down. You've gone from enforcing to convincing, from clarity to performance, from sovereignty to emotional labor. And queen, you weren't crowned to perform at all. You were crowned to lead, to be victorious in everything that you do. So the standard is simple. You do not justify what protects you. You do not apologize for being unavailable to dysfunction. You do not write essays to people who refuse to read your energy. You state it, you hold, and you move. You are not a PR agent for your boundary. You are not a sales rep for your clarity, love. You are not a therapist for someone who mistreated you and now wants closure they never earned. No. You are the queen, and this is your kingdom. Clarity doesn't need defending. It doesn't. You are clear. Let's define it even clearer. Your no. Your no doesn't need a backstory. Your silence doesn't need softening. Your growth doesn't need explanation to those who chose not to grow with you. Your boundary doesn't require approval. It requires enforcement. A woman in her worth does not explain she exists. A queen in her clarity does not clarify what has already been violated. Nah, we don't do that. We don't. And we call out misalignment. We do. Let's name what you've been doing, because it's time to stop. You text back just to explain why you stopped texting. You feel guilty after saying no and start softening your tone. You block someone, then unblock them because you felt bad for how it ended. You send paragraphs trying to explain your boundary, hoping they'll say, "Oh, I get it now. I understand you." Let me offer you something sobering and freeing. If they valued you, you wouldn't need to explain. If they were paying attention, they already know. If they were capable of holding space for your truth, they wouldn't have disrespected it to begin with. But here's where it gets deeper. Most women don't explain for them. They don't. They explain to soothe themselves. You're trying to avoid feeling misunderstood, to avoid guilt for doing what was necessary, avoid being seen as the bad one, the bad person, avoiding the weight of making someone uncomfortable with your truth. But queen, your boundary is not responsible for how someone chooses to receive it. Stop explaining what was required just because someone didn't like the experience of being held accountable. No, you don't need to perform emotional cleanup after enforcing a standard, love. That's not how it works. You don't need to do that at all. Right? Let's break this down from a masculine perspective, because it matters. When a woman over-explains to a man, especially after drawing a line, here's what he receives. She's not certain. She still wants to be liked. Her no is flexible. I just need to say the right thing, and she'll bend. She's still emotionally available for me. Oh, I can still pull her in. Even if your words say, I'm done. The act of over-explaining says, I'm still emotionally in negotiation. And once a man sees this, once he sees that, he doesn't move with clarity. He moves with strategy. Now he's done figured you out that you can bend. And it's not because he's evil, but because he now knows the game. You're saying no, but trying not to lose him while doing it. So what does he do? He waits. He texts again. He says, oh, I've been thinking about you. Or, oh, I've been thinking about what you said. He becomes just available enough to see if he can reopen the emotional door you already closed. And if you fall for it, you've just taught him that your boundary can be negotiated as long as he plays his cards right. Queens do not reward confusion with access. They reward clarity with presence. Right? Confusion? No. You don't get in the gate with confusion, love. Now let's get into the part most women don't talk about. You're explaining because you want to feel safe. Not safe with him, but safe with yourself. You want to know, did I do the right thing? Will he still respect me? What if I come off too cold? What if I was misunderstood? Let me offer you something stronger than reassurance. You do not need to be understood to be sovereign. You do not need everyone to get you. You do not need to come off sweet, spiritual, or graceful. You do not need to soften the delivery of your truth for people who have already dismissed the truth repeatedly. You don't explain. You don't explain because you're no longer proving you're good. You're no longer cleaning up the emotional impact of someone else's behavior. You're no longer asking to be seen. You see yourself already. Explaining is often an old trauma reflex, love. You grew up having to justify your emotions. You were punished for saying no. You had to manage other people's reactions all the time. You were trained to keep peace even when it meant betraying your own peace. But now you are not a peacekeeper. You are a standard setter. You are a standard setter now. And sometimes setting a standard disrupts peace before it creates it. It will. So don't confuse guilt with misalignment. You're not doing it wrong. You're just doing it differently. And difference always feels uncomfortable until it becomes your new default. Right? Don't let guilt come in and change up your rewiring, the new code, the seeds that you're planting within yourself. Here's something that I want you to take seriously, though. You do not explain. You say it once. You speak it clearly. You protect it silently. And then you stop talking. Try that today. Today, you don't follow up your no with an explanation. Today, you don't send another message clarifying your tone. Today, you don't write a paragraph to soften your boundary. Today, you do not offer closure to someone who already had the chance. They already had the chance to show up fully and didn't. You honor the version of you who finally got clear. Let your boundaries stand without needing to be understood. Because explanation is rarely for their clarity. It's for your comfort. And today you don't chase comfort. You hold standard. You hold that standard over soothing. You are a standard setter now. All right, here's a reminder, and I want you to say this with me. And speak it like a woman who's done performing. Say this: I don't explain. I don't defend my standard. I don't overtalk my truth. I don't argue with people who benefit from pretending not to understand me. I speak once and then I stop. I protect my energy, not their perception of me. I prioritize alignment, not approval. And clarity does not need a performance. It doesn't. Because queens don't explain their crowns. They adjust them and move forward, right? That's what we do. So, let me leave you with this one thing. You don't explain what was required. You enforce it. You don't owe anyone closure if they ignored your voice while they had your presence. You don't owe sweetness after they disrespected your softness. You don't owe softness when you had to become sharp just to be heard. You say it once. You hold the line. You log off. Because here's the truth. Your peace is more important than their understanding. Your boundary is not a question. It's an instruction. And your emotional sovereignty does not come with a speech. From now on, you stop explaining. You stop justifying. You stop trying to be palatable. Let your presence speak. Let your clarity lead. Let your silence be the final word. Right? Today. Even if it's one little step at a time. Hold your standard and subscribe to stay in touch, because queens don't walk alone. We walk together and we lead. Stay blessed and stay crowned queen. Talk to you soon.